Hey folks, it's your pal Mike Shea from slyflourish.com and twitter.com/slyflourish, here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy DM Prep. This is a 1-hour show that I do on Sunday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, even with the time change, where I prepare for my Sunday game by using the steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. I have the wrong book up. There we go. So last week I mentioned that I would not be reviewing the 8 steps. I actually recorded a couple of other videos that you can see. They are down in the show notes, both on Twitch and on YouTube. If you want to see the full 8 steps and a description of what they all are, and also get a review of the entire book, Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, you can watch those 2 videos and get it. That way I don't have to repeat it every show, and we can spend more time talking about D&D. So if this is your first time watching the show, you probably want to at least take a look at the 8 steps video. It's short. I think it's like 10 minutes long and goes over all of the 8 steps that we go through while we're preparing for our game. But you can also follow along while we're doing it here, and you'll probably get the gist. I have, of course, forgotten to pop out my chat window, so let me do that now. If you are live on Twitch, say hello, and we can talk about D&D. So last game, so I'm running Dragon Heist, Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and enjoying a fine cocoa this morning. Ooh, a little hot. I am running Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and in our last session, the characters began with their battle against a member of the Xanathar's Guild, a high-ranking member of the Xanathar's Guild, and they were worried about having to fight a Mind Flayer. And they ended up fighting an Intellect Devourer, and they killed that guy, and they got a hold of, it was a nice, big, meaty fight, and they got a hold of Floon, Floon Blagmar, NPCs, and they made their way out. There was a big fight, so that took a while. I enjoyed kind of running a big battle. Full Dwarven Forge and all that. And they made their way out of the sewers and went to back to the Yawning Portal. And I knew that I didn't want to start chapter 2 until, chapter 2. I didn't want to start chapter 2 till this session. I wanted to give them a full break. So, I threw another fight in there. It was like, the fun bit was, they met with Volo, and they talked to Floon, and I think I don't think Raynar was there. Raynar Neverember wasn't there. But they were kind of talking everything, and then they started hitting up Volo for the cash. Hey, you said it was going to be like 200 gold pieces a piece or something crazy like that. And he's like, oh yeah, I have something far more valuable. And one of the characters, who is it here? Aranis was like, no, where's the money? And he's like, oh, I've got something way better. He's like, no, you don't. Where's the money? And he was clued in. So Volo started to try to sell them on Trollskull Manor. Oh, I have something. Well, how would you like to run a business that makes way more money than you could ever get from me? And a couple characters are like, oh, that sounds interesting. And he's like, no, where's my cash? You're going to sell us swampland. I know it. And so he pulls out the deed. And then they're like, no, we want the money. And they start to like get closer to him. And all of a sudden, what was it? A giant bat and a bunch of flying snakes came flying out of the well and attacking once again. And I think my gain is always a little off. I can never figure out. Yeah, let's try that. I don't know why the gain on this, that's probably a little odd. The gain on this mic floats. So I constantly have to change the gain. So they met. Yeah, so they got attacked by flying snakes and bats. And that, nice big fight there too. And in the middle of that, they realized, oh man, Volo's gone. Volo fled. So, we began the session this week where they just got a hold of the deed, and now their next step is to go see what they received. Sorry, I'm still tweaking my gain here. Tell me if it all sounds okay or if you hear me clipping out at all. So the one thing I had failed to do, I think if you watched last week's show, you'll remember that I printed out a copy of the deed, which then I left down here on my desk and forgot to bring with me to the game shop. But I have it now. It's in my bag and ready to go. So we have that. Sorry, super dry and I'm super thirsty. I'm talking. So one of the other funny things that occurred is in email, one of the characters started sending around limericks about the other characters. And this became a thing. And then all of a sudden, everybody's writing limericks about everyone else's character that are on the PG-13, not R exactly, as you'll see. And I was like, these are really funny. If you're not forgetting carefully crafted props, are you even a dungeon master? Yeah. I wonder how many, I have many times made nice props, which I then left at home. Or I don't think I've yet made a whole Dwarven Forge thing and then left it at home. But I've miniatures, I've had a miniature that I've been hanging on to for years. And it's just one of these real specialist miniatures that you're never going to use. And then I'm like, oh, I get to use it. And then I forget it. And I don't use it. And then it goes back in the box for more years. That's the flaw of miniatures, man. That's one of the flexibility of theater of the mind means you never have to worry about having the right miniature. And if you're a miniature collector, you never will have the right miniature. Just can't ever quite get there, no matter how many you have. Anyway, so I kept the limericks here in the show notes. I don't know if my mom is online. She said she was going to be online. And I don't know that I can stand reading these dirty limericks with my mom on my own Twitch channel. So you're going to have to read them. But they're in the show notes on YouTube. You can enjoy them there too. I was like, these are pretty funny. So I'm going to keep these in my notes. So last week we also talked... Oh, you know what? I don't have them on the notes. You guys want to read the limericks? There you go. This is my show notes. This is the notes for the show, by the way. Or for the game. And it is the 10th, right? So last week, I also talked about using OneNote. And I decided against using OneNote because I didn't have a good way to export them. And there was little tweaky bits with fonts and box sizes and stuff that I was like, they're nice. And I like the syncing, but I bet I can do something very similar. And I did, and it worked really well. So what I have an arrangement now where I'm using iCloud Drive because I'm an Apple nerd. Sorry, non-Apple nerds. And so I'm using iCloud Drive to sync across devices. So I have it on my Mac, and I installed it here on my PC, and I've got it on both my iPad and my iPhone. And I made a folder called Adventure Notes. And in this Adventure Notes folder, I have one folder for each campaign that I'm running. So I have, I think, 4 right now. Sunday, Dragon Heist. Wednesday, Shadow of the Apocalypse, which is coming up. Shadow of the Demon Lord. Why is it called Shadow of the Apocalypse? Demon Lord. Wednesday, Shadow of the Demon Lord, which is coming up. Wednesday, Tomb of Annihilation, which is my current Wednesday game. Sunday, Tomb of Annihilation, which is now over. And Saturday, Princes of the Apocalypse, which is my irregular game. So I have one folder for each campaign. And then in these folders, if I go into my Sunday Dragon Heist folder, I have a template that I wrote, which is just a text file that's a blank text file with all of the stuff in it. So it does have the characters in there. Anything that's going to repeat from week to week, I'll throw in the template. And then whenever it's time for a new note, I duplicate that file. And now I've got a blank, ready to go template for my notes. And it's just a text file. It's a text formatted in Markdown, but a text file. And then I name it with the date of the game. And I can throw images. I have a couple images in here. I don't know what these are. Oh, I guess they're images of, hang on. I can show these. So I mentioned the battle last week that I ran. And I can show those. So here was one battle. That was the main Xanathar villain. Let's see, I think I have another one here. Yeah, that's a bigger one. So there was the Mind Flayer. There was the thing he teleported out of. And here is the nice array. So it's kind of a fun little battle. This was my pre-setup. This is when it was sitting on my desk. So I have the folder for each campaign. And then a template for each campaign. And then I have, then the notes that you see here on the left side of the screen are the notes that I actually keep in those campaigns. But the interesting thing is I can use, I have a program called IA Writer that's on my phone and on my iPad, which is a Markdown-based text editor that connects to iCloud Drive. So I can go into iCloud Drive, open a file in IA Writer, and now I've got it on my phone. And if I edit it in IA Writer right there on my phone anywhere, it's updated. So like I was upstairs heat my cocoa, and I added in the limericks on my iPad, and I just ran down here, and here they are. I didn't have to copy anything around, which I know it's like, wow, 1990s syncing technology. But it just changing my own environment helped. The cool bit was in my Wednesday game, I kept notes for Tomb of Annihilation, and I wrote them in Markdown, and I even linked stuff. I'm not linking in here because I also post this to YouTube, and the links are weird. So, but I can write them in Markdown, and I can link to monsters, and I can link to locations or maps that are on D&D Beyond. And then on my iPad, when I play, I can have a split window with the notes on the left side and a browser on the right. And when I click on any of the links in the notes on the left, it opens in the browser on the right. So now I've got this 2-pane thing where I've got my notes that I wrote for the game on one side, and I've got all the materials in D&D Beyond on the other side. It was super convenient. I'm kind of I like to use physical books. I like to just use the monster manual. I like to just bring the physical books with me and use them because it just, to me, it's like getting back to the core of D&D, right? Like the less reliance on technology I have, the more I feel like I'm sort of free to run it however I run it. I don't want to have like, boundaries on what I want to do because of the technology I'm using. But boy, this was fast. Like basically just having an iPad with a split window and just clicking a link to a monster, and there it was. And also I had all of D&D Beyond there, so I could look up anything else that I needed to look up at the time. So that was really convenient, and a real fun way. So I kind of picked up how to do that by using OneNote, but I'm not actually using OneNote now. I just use text. So what was my point with all that? Oh, why does it keep adding double? Whenever I add a .text to a file, let me close this here. No. And then drag it back in again. There we go. Yeah, so that was really convenient. Now, the one problem that I do have is in Markdown, Markdown notes do not go into YouTube very well. Particularly angle brackets don't work. So, for this game, I'm probably not going to add I'm adding links like you see them in here, but I'm not going to hyperlink them, even though A, because I'm not bringing my iPad to the game, and B, I take these notes as they're written and post them straight into YouTube when I'm done, and I don't want to have to reformat them every time because I'm very lazy. But boy, the limericks were funny, so I'm keeping those because I have a feeling that those limericks are going to be great. Radic G says, I have a phone with my notes and a tablet with D&D Beyond, then works pretty well. I also link monsters from my notes to D&D Beyond. Yeah. Radic, if you have, I don't know if there's a way to do a split screen on your tablet, and if you could show your notes and D&D Beyond in the same pane. I have a big 12-inch iPad, so I can do it on both. But being able to click the link on the left and have it show up on the right, and it's not flipping screens, like they were both sitting side by side, and you click links over here and they show up over here. It felt very, not to overuse the Apple propaganda, but it felt magical. It was this really neat way of the two programs operating together. And one was a rendered Markdown, so it looked pretty. Like the headings are right, and the bullet list was right, and links were all pretty. Like because IA Writer has a render the Markdown version. So if you wrote it in Markdown, you can hit bang, and it will flip over to the formatted version where pound signs are headers and stuff like that. Yeah, just give it a shot. I don't know if it worked really well for me. I mean, who knows? It works for other people, but it was really. It was such a powerful thing that I was like, it made me rethink how I'm running my game. It was like, maybe I need to start hyperlinking a lot more. The problem is like, I play very, you can switch monsters. Like, you can have 3 monsters links, and you can just click the assassin or click the demon or click the other one, and they just flop, and they'll just, as you click them, they'll just keep opening up. I think they open in new tabs though, so you can have a bunch of open tabs, but who cares? What else? All right, so Dragon Heist, Chapter 2. So Chapter 2 of Dragon Heist is very weird. That's probably being a little mean about it, but this chapter does not run like almost any other D&D chapter that I've run. It is not a linear story, even compared to... Close these other windows here. Even compared to the other chapters in Dragon Heist, which are, and they're not exactly linear, but they're more focused. Like they're an event that occurs over an evening. This chapter could occur over weeks, right? So the whole thing is about Trollskull Alley, which is where you get your manor and what goes on there. And it starts off by describing the alley itself. It's got a nice, and I should have, of course, oh, I can print this. So let me open up a player version of this. Hey, here's a new, wow, it's got a grid. What's up with that? What do you got a grid for? Grids. Let me put a piece of paper in here. Here's a new handout I can forget today. And I'll print a couple of them. Print, loading preview. No, we want a much bigger version of that. Layout as landscape. More settings. Scale. That looks pretty good. Let's try 120. Yeah, okay. And we will print 2 copies. Pages per sheet quality, copies 2. Print. Sorry, printing. So this chapter is about Trollskull Alley and Trollskull Manor. This is the alley itself. And they didn't number them in the player version, because I guess it's a player version. And Trollskull Manor is right here. And I guess the alley's back here. So, oh yeah, look at that. I tell you, sometimes, so I will say, like, I was kind of sad not to see Mike Schley, beautiful color maps. But one nice thing is, like, I can print black and white mats on my crappy black and white printer, print them on parchment paper, right? So they got a little bit of, they feel rustic, they feel authentic. And I got 2 of those, and players can draw all over these, and it cost me nothing. And it cost me very, very little. So this chapter is mostly about the characters exploring their manor. And it's got all of the people and the areas of the alley, so they can sort of meet everybody. And a big point of this chapter is sort of getting a home and getting familiar with a home. I'm gonna run out of water. Wow, look at these. They're selling spells. Oh, look, and there's a sewer. And then there's this whole joining factions, and it's like during the time that they're there, various faction agents will show up. You know, it's kind of like, and there's all the factions, and I don't know that you're expected to use them all, because I think there's a bunch. There's like 7, right? You have Force Grey, Brigand Darth, the Emerald Enclave, the Harpers, the Lord's Alliance, Order of the Gauntlet. So all the 5 normal ones. Interim. Yeah, so you got all the 5 plus 2 extra. Which is a little like, so you feel like you're sitting at this bar and you're hanging out, and 7 people, secret people, show up and like, hey, how would you like to join our group? And then it's like, well, how do they pick? So, you know, I think what I'm gonna do is so we do have a drow character, and I think he might show up, and I kind of like the idea that Jarlaxle himself is the one who shows up. We'll skip the 5 normal ones, and Force Grey will show up. And I think maybe the Zinterim through Anton's special lady friend. I think she might show up. So scenes, we can have faction agents. I don't spell these right. And I kind of like bringing in new factions, right? I think that that's one of the exciting things. Maybe start with the Tavern Guild Rep. Yes. So, so I'll tell you what I did when I ran the playtest, because this chapter freaked me out when I ran the playtest too. I just kind of didn't know how to run it. And I was talking to Jeff Greiner and Enrique Bertrand, the newbie DM. Jeff Greiner runs, he's Squash, he runs the Tome Show. And we were doing our episode of Behind the DM Screen. It's a semi-monthly podcast that we do where we talk about our games. And Enrique was talking about running this very chapter. I think he's in it. He's in this chapter now. And he was saying, like, his players are kind of like they're, plot driven, like move us from one scene to the next kind of people. So this whole idea of like, well, explore the place and, get around it, it reminds me of a DM I once ran with many, many years ago, who at one point in the game, after we kind of introduced our characters, she said, okay, everybody role play. And then just sat there while we all stared at each other, right? Like, there was no drive for us to understand what we were supposed to do. So there's a little bit of that. So when I freaked out last time, what I did, I have these upside down. What I did is I haunted I made that mansion more haunted than it was, and I ran sort of a small version of Death House. So I actually had two groups that were haunting it. One was Leaf, who is haunting it now. I think there's a section. Is there talk about this? There's all these mission things. And so the missions are focus things. So when you have a couple of agents that kind of come and talk to people, they could sort of send, they could kind of send people around. So I think like a couple of jobs, and then, you have your, the guild representatives show up, and that's going to be fun. I don't know about the business rival. Yeah, so this one, like, it's so loose. The chapter's really loose, and it does not give you much help in how are you supposed to run this, right? It's like, do I really have 7 faction agents show up like that? So it's sort of like a miniature version of like your chapter 3 from other adventures. I think Storm King's Thunder and what's it called? Tomb of Annihilation and Curse of Strahd all have these big chapters that are just like explore the area. This is like that, only more focused. But I also don't think it really helps us understand, and this is obviously perfectly ripe for a article on Sly Flourish, about what are you supposed to do in this chapter? Like, how do you, because the next chapter, Fireball, is perfect. Like as chapters go, Fireball is like, boom, Fireball explodes, kills a bunch of your friends, right? And who did it, right? And that to me is a really interesting start. This one does not have a start like this. This one does not say, here's what happens. So what's the strong start? So I think that the strong start is going to be, they start at dusk at Trollskull Manor. And they have the delivery of the deed, or whenever they arrive at Trollskull Manor. We could say dusk, but and I think they'll have like one. So this is what I did in the last one, and it worked well. So maybe I'll just do it again. Although I kind of want to try something new. So if you guys have ideas about a different way to do this, I'd be interested to hear. But they mentioned the fact that this place used to be owned by a hag, and I think she taught it as a school. It was an orphanage, right? The Trollskull Manor was once an orphanage. And the hag was actually eating the children. So my idea was, what if the hag is still around? Right? What if she's still alive? And then we can use It. I think It, the recent movie version of It, is a wonderful movie about a hag. Only the hag happens to be a clown. But that same sort of thing. So now you have all the cool effects from It we can use here. But we need a name for our hag. Let's go to names. Petiti. Look at that name, Petiti. Auntie Petiti. I kind of like that. NPCs. Auntie Petiti. Hag.
She probably has a Banderhob who... Oh, so my idea... Yeah, and the poltergeist. So the ghost and the hag are both in the place haunting it at the same time. And they can't really see each other. So the party is being harassed by two groups, and they don't realize that it's two separate entities. That's what I did with the last one. And the hag ended up becoming a major villain, and they fought her all the way to the end. I think they remember the hag more than they remember any other villain I had. I want to get into D&D so bad. I just don't even know where to start. Pine Bark. First of all, welcome to D&D. And second, I hope that I have something that can help you. We will go. So if anybody wants to know what I offer when it comes to D&D stuff, I recommend going to the Start Here page on Sly Flourish. It's got all my articles. But one of the things it has is 6 articles that I wrote for D&D Beyond about how to get started running D&D. So I'm going to link you with that first one. And there are 6 articles. They're all linked in every article. So at the beginning of every article, you can click on all of the other ones. And I go basically through the 6 things that I believe people struggle with when they get started with D&D. Number 1 is finding people to play. The hardest part, by far. If you can get people at your table to play D&D, that is by far the hardest part of getting into D&D. That is, and it's something I don't even really cover in return because my assumption is you already have a game. But I didn't for this one, and I've written about this topic numerous times. How do you find players for your game? Where do you find them? And I polled a bunch of people, and I ran a bunch of surveys, and I tried to get like the biggest areas where you're likely to find players. But getting players to come and show up, so I wrote here's a whole summary. It's a big long article about how to find players. And then next, let's assume you have players. The next thing I recommend is, and here's like starting strong. The next thing I recommend is buying Lost Mine of Fandel, buying the starter set. The D&D starter set is an excellent starting set. Pick that one up, and you have everything you need in that box to play D&D. It's got dice, it's got characters, it's got an adventure book, it's got monsters, it's got everything in it, and it's like $10 if you can get. Like on Amazon, it regularly is right around $10. But it's worth twice that. So even if it costs you $20, go ahead and pay the $20. It's worth it. And it has a really good adventure, a really nice adventure. And let's see. Awesome. Thanks. I have players. They're just scattered around. So our table is virtual. Yes, many people. I think Roll20 and the like work really well. Although a lot of people play it just over Discord. So I have a friend who plays. He actually streams his games, and he uses a shared Photoshop to share images and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. You maybe already have a tool that you're using. Roll20 is very popular. It has a high learning curve though. For me anyway, I'm old and slow to learn. And Roll20 is great if you want to run like a real gridded thing in shared space. But any voice chat system can work really well. Voice and text, so you can pass like images around. And then a dice roller is a nice thing to have. But I think Discord's got some dice roller apps where you can just trust that people roll and aren't cheating. So hopefully that gets you started, and welcome to D&D. It's a great way to go. Try Phandelver. I know I think our instinct. Yeah, Discord. A lot of people play over Discord, so Discord can work really well. And just try it. Try a little quick game. Fight some goblins. I think people knew. I've seen this a lot on the Facebook D&D. The Facebook D&D group, which has like 125,000 D&D people, D&D enthusiasts. And I see it a lot with new people that they want to immediately jump into their own campaign. They have big ideas and big worlds, and they want to run with that. And I would recommend just setting that aside for a few sessions. And for the first couple of sessions, try something, keep it really simple. And I think the adventure in the starter set is really good. So the instinct is to go big. And normally that instinct is excellent. But particularly for new DMs, there's a lot of little tricks. Obviously, I talk a lot about this in my book. There's a lot of little tricks to make sure that we're focusing on the characters. You'll see that in the 8 steps. I don't really do a lot of world building. I don't know that you were going to do that. So, but I recommend Phandelver. A lot of people recommend. I'm not the only one. Many people say start with the starter set. It really works. So, good. Welcome, and glad you can make it here to the show. Yeah, so I kind of like the idea of the haunted manor as sort of a strong start. That they go into the manor. I think they could meet someone. Again, I did this before, so there's a whole bunch of NPCs here, and they're all going to kind of watch. And I think the general secret is that so far, no one. No one has ever spent a whole night in Trollskull Manor. They've always fled. I'm just hammering out secrets. Sorry, I've stopped talking and I just hammer out secrets. These are all things about Trollskull. I kind of like the idea that it's actually the manor's basement actually has a secret entrance to the Undermountain. I think that's kind of fun. You know, it's like how many buildings in the world have an input to Undermountain? Not many, but when the characters have one, they get one. What other? Another little fun thing I did, I don't know if I'll do it again, but after they survive the night in the manor, every one of the neighbors kind of shows up with a fruit basket. I always thought that was kind of fun. They sort of like, why bother welcoming a neighbor unless they actually survive a night in the manor? And if they do, they're like, oh, here's some, we bought you some fresh bread. You know, I think it could kind of be fun for each of the people who come to the manor. They arrive at the manor rather than the people having to go explore the area themselves. You know, they can kind of do it on their own. So I think that could be fun. What other secrets? I need 2 more secrets. Interesting things. What is a Banderhob? I think they're really powerful. Why is that not working? Yeah, Banderhob will kill people, I think. 22 damage on a bite. Yeah, that's not fair. So definitely, the hag definitely has a Banderhob, who's actually one of the children. I think, did a Banderhob... they're birthed by hags. So what other... So, oh, what's the name of that creature that's got the face of a human? There's a creature that has the face of a human. This doesn't work. It's a dog that has the face of a human and is made by hags. Yethhound? I think you're right. Yeah. I think that a Yeth Hand is what I'm thinking of. It's kind of unfortunate that like a lot of creatures, this doesn't really help. A lot of creatures in D&D and in the monster manual. Yeah, that's meaty. Whoa! 25 damage on a bite attack. I thought Yethhounds, I thought there was a hag. So here's a problem. It's something that would be awesome that D&D Beyond had, but they don't seem to. Is that a lot of creatures are tied to hags. Like, if you go into Volo's Guide and you look at a bunch of the creatures in Volo's Guide, let's go to sources here. A bunch of the monsters in here are tied to hags. The ket. How do you pronounce this? Catoblepias. C-A-T-O. Let's try this. Let's use their little name pronouncing.
Catoblepas.
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 Thank you, Matt Mercer. Catoblepas. Now I don't know what the plural is, but I think they also are like beings of blighted territory, and they're often like hags that live out in the woods. Use them. I think there's. Yeah, right. So the hags they treat Catoblepas like cattle, right? So there's a lot of creatures in Volos that are tied to hags, but what I need is a list. Like I sort of want like a giant network diagram of every monster. So it's like what monsters are related to what other monsters. So if you Mind Flayer, like if you put in Mind Flayer, you should get something that says, by the way, Githyanki and Githzeri have a high tie to Mind Flayers, as do Cranium Rats. Maybe they're Cranium Rats Mind Flayery based. Yeah, Mind Flayers create Cranium Rats, right? So I need like a social, has Nacho Problem says a social network analysis of monsters. That's what I need. I need a big network diagram. Basically what I want is anytime I go to a monster listing, I would love to say, these are all of the other monsters that have a relation to this monster. Like they're tied in. Either they're an enemy of them, or they're a friend of them, or they're created by them, or they have created these monsters. So if you go to Mind Flayer, I should get a list of all the creatures that have been affected by Mind Flayers. Likewise, if I go into any of those creatures, Mind Flayer should show up on the list. Like there ought to be some kind of connection to that, because what I need now are like, what are other cool creatures? Boggles? Are Boggles hags? Banderhob. So Boggles, they're servants. So we could have Boggles work for hags. Catoblepas. Boggles are fae, but yes, so are hags. I think. I'm pretty sure. I gotta get through all the actual hags. Oh no, what did I do? Oh, damn. Oh, well. So, yeah, I want to have, like, what are some other creatures that are tied to it? So they could, I think that's a secret, is that, Antipatidi has a secret way into the manor. So she's kind of a fun villain, right? She probably doesn't show right up, but what are the tricks? So when we think about, scenes, right? So we have our faction agents, but then we also have the haunting. And we can also show, so two good sources of crazy horror to throw in here are The Shining and It. So we can have dead children talking to the party. We can have crazy big hag coming out of a painting. What are some other terrible things we can do to people? Woman bathing in child blood. What other scary bits? Seduction. Seduction by a hag. That happened. Pictures of the characters. In ancient paintings. What else? Hit me up, chat. What are some other cool scenes from It and The Shining that I can drop on my characters today while they're dealing with a haunted mansion? I like this one. I don't know why. And I did it before and I enjoyed it. Part of me says like, oh, I should do something different, but it's like, it worked and I liked it. So if I like it again, I could do it again. Even though I ran it twice. It's one of the fun things about running adventures multiple times. I know that this is probably not something most DMs can do. I imagine only a few DMs can actually have this opportunity. But when you have the opportunity to run an adventure you want to run multiple times, there's really a lot of advantages to it. One of them is you will just run it better. Like you finally understand how this works. Ooh, yeah, slamming doors shut, splitting the party. Good one, shark face. Oh, we can add some poltergeist in here too. Vanderhob can eat someone, right? Which one of these three terrible doors do you want to open? The hag lair actions and Volos are probably good to look at. Ooh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, when in doubt, every time. I joke about Jeremy Crawford on Twitter that like how many times does he have to tell people to read the book? And then I'm one of the people that he has to tell to read the book. It actually happened to me where I asked him a question at a convention and he's like, read the book. He didn't say it like that. He should have. He was very kind. He said, let's take a look. And he opened up the book. And I was like, Dark Sisterhood. Yeah, Hags, Dark Sister. Oh, look at that. There's a lair. Oh yeah. Master manipulators. They make deals. What deal does she want? They want the manor, right? Hag ideals. This is a good one. Let's roll on some of this stuff here. Do I have a D8? I do have a D8. All right. Oh no, my props that I'm gonna forget are falling on the floor. All right, let's give a personality trait to our hag. Where is she? She's in here somewhere. Auntie Patati. Patiti. That's a funny name. She subtle insults into an art form. Oh, I could use the I could use the oh my god. I can use their own limericks against them. Hag ideal. Greed. I will acquire the rarest and most valuable holy treasures and keep them for she wants magical treasures. I lost her. Bond. I traded away something before I realized it was priceless and now I want it back. She had something and she wants it back. What is it? Flaws. I have an allergy to a creature such as cats or ravens or a substance such as apples or blood that is important in my work. What could it be? I don't know. Imps? Yeah, what if one of the children... Ooh! Oh! Good one! Natural problem. What if one of the kids... We're going to have to throw this in a secret. One of the kids survived. What is it? We need an object. Some kind of... I could use a... we can use one of my relics. Relics. Ancient royal lamp. An old lamp. That casts witch bolt. I traded away an ancient oil lamp that casts witch bolt before I realized it was priceless. Now I want it back. So one of the kids could be the poltergeist. Yeah, maybe, except what's the odd that the poltergeist is not going to come back to the same manner? So I think that the idea that there's somebody out there in the city who survived the hag, right? Maybe she's very old now. Maybe this happened almost like 100 years ago and this woman's still around. Because I think another fun thing could be Auntie Patati has a daughter, another hag. That is out there serving her mother, you know, and has served her for a long time. And so she's seeking it. So like this, now I got a whole different campaign, right? Now it's like, wait a minute, what about the gold? So I gotta be careful with this. I get kind of caught in my own story. I don't think we're going to do the fantastic locations because I've got them all stuck in the scenes here. So we're going to just keep those. And monsters. Banderhob. This is how you link in Markdown if you have anybody. Let's see. Grab your link and you paste it in here. And now I've got a Markdown link. I think she's just a green hag, right? So what do you have? Night hags are demons, or infernals. Green hags are normal. Annis hag is what? Annis hags are pretty badass. But yeah, I don't know. Sea hag, be her hag is the frozen one, right? So we're gonna stick to just a green hag. Nice straight, normal green hag. That's a good challenge for a low-level party. Any other crazy monsters? We have the Spectre, right? We'll just make it a ghost. They make it a Spectre in the book, but I suppose that's because you want to be able to beat it. But I think a ghost is better. Because remember, I'm also leveling up. My guys are higher. They're 3rd level already. Ooh, hag one of a kind object table. Did I miss that? That sounds awesome. Volo's guide. I don't think I got that far. So much good stuff in here. Hag names. I already gave a name. Mounts and vehicles. Hag covens. Alternative spells. Hag lair. Oh, look at the lairs, man. So I actually have a hag lair in if we go to Lazy DM, let me pull this up here. I have, is this the sewers? That's cellars. That's mines. One of these, sorry. Probably the first one. Yeah, so I have here is my sewer map. This is in the Lazy DM's workbook. Commissioned Daniel Walthall drew this, which is awesome. And it is a 2-layer sewer map that includes, if you look up here and on the upper right-hand side, a hag lair. So that's where the hag lair is. And I think that they could get in here, you know, like I think they'll drop into like one of these areas and they can like go through the sewer. So I got a whole dungeon for them, a whole other dungeon that they can explore. And part of me is like, oh, but what about the whole thing with the, get this, it fits. What about the whole, forget it. Hey, look, it fits. What about the whole thing with the gold? It's like, if they'd rather explore sewer with a hag, I've got it ready. Right? So, yeah. Oh, and I still didn't get to your one-of-a-kind objects. I'm still mucking around here. Let me go back. So many cool things. Hag lair actions. Ooh, what are the lair actions? Yeah, so the idea that her lair is... this is pretty good. I actually kind of like having it that she can actually attack. Like she can do stuff as an illusion of herself, you know? I don't know. All bets are off when you have like a good villain like this. But the cool thing is that oh, look, minions. Yeah, so this is where, they have the connection to some of the other ones, it looks like, a little bit. But treasure, one of a kind. Oh, here we are. Here's your list. I finally got to it. I need a D10. Oh, where's my D10? Oh, no. Hey, I found a D10. Oh, shucks. I almost dumped my cocoa. It was out. I drank it all. Whew. 6. A seemingly mundane gold piece. Anyone who touches it gains unshakable belief that this is the very first gold coin minted by humanity. Wow, an ancient gold coin. That's pretty cool. I don't know. I kind of like my lantern. The nice thing is the lantern is the actual, honest to God, magic item. If they get a hold of it, it's powerful. So and our one of the characters will like it. So it looks like I'm going to be running a haunted mansion adventure today, more so than anything else. And I don't know. I have a feeling it's probably a little too loose. I would like to have a better idea of sort of what goes on. I guess I can always just hit these scenes almost randomly. I could make them random, but there looks like there's 10 of them, right? Look at that. So I can do so I can roll randomly. And it's like they go into a room and room number 6, a hag comes out. She's all beautiful and they have to make a charm save or they end up in bed with her and they go, oh my God, I'm in bed with a hag. That could be fun. We roll again and it gets 7. They go in and part of the wall turns into a giant frog. The frog goes and eats them, right? Oh, it's so poltergeist-like. Except I have shining poltergeist on it. We need to pull this out. We need one more crazy thing. Oh no, 2 more. Right, so let's do. Let's make a hauntings table. Sorry, I'm mucking around here. Oh, you know what? You can't even see this stuff. Sorry. Let's go back here. So we have haunting ideas, and I need 2 more. That way I have a nice list of 10. I can roll randomly. Poltergeist scenes. A giant closet that eats people. What other cool poltergeist scene was there? Portal that opens up in 2 places. A big tree. How about a haunted tree? Ooh, what about like they find themselves... I want a catoblepus. I want to use a catoblepus. Catoblepa challenge 5, but you know, they'll just see one, right? Whoops. When in doubt, put things in alphabetical order. I don't actually need the link for the catoblepus because I've now got it below. Right, so they sort of find them... I know it has an insta-kill. It won't kill them. Like, you know, it'll hit them and they'll think they're dead. And then one of the other characters will see them like gray on the ground and then they'll have to like save them. So we'll do it like it dropped them to 0 hit points. Does it actually kill? Is it death? Death Ray, it's called. Yeah, wow. So, you know, but it's an illusionary catoblepus. It's not real, right? They'll just see it, and there'll be a dozen of these. There'll be 2d6. You know, there'll be 6 catoblepus in a outside of a lair, or maybe in an underground chamber, right, lurking around with their deadly eyes. I think that'd be badass. So yeah, so now I got like my hauntings, right? And I can now, like, as they're exploring, they'll be hitting these hauntings and they'll get split up. I don't know. Hopefully I don't screw this up running it. Just organizing my notes. There. Treasure. It'd be nice if they found something here. If you ever need like a treasure thing, let's go to what was it called? Donjon. Donjon has so donjon.bin.sh. We're gonna stick this in our notes. Has some wonderful random treasure generators. I just kind of want to drop an interesting thing in here. So let's go to 5e. Let's go to random treasure generator. And they are tier 1. So we do challenge rating is 2. We do treasure hoard. And what do we got? I like to hit it until I get something interesting. Bracers of archery. That's a little, yeah. Ring of water walking. That's pretty good.
Ring of Water Walking, old Ring of Water Walking. That also helps you avoid the stench of a sewer. Might not be bad. Bag of tricks. Oh, bag of tricks. What is a bag of tricks like? Bag of tricks. Do any of these feel more hag-like? Yeah, they're all kind of... they're all the same. I mean, they're all the same power. I guess a tan... How about like a human skin bag of tricks? And all of them are kind of fiendish creatures. So maybe we'll do that instead of the Ring of Water Walking. We'll do a bag of tricks. Made from child skin, of course. How long in terms of actual playtime do you expect them to spend searching the Haunted Mansion? A session or two, maybe? I bet you it could take a little while. I could make my own bag of tricks, but that requires effort. It also requires effort for them because they can't just add bag of tricks to their character sheet. So I'll probably stick to the normal bag of tricks. It's a good idea. It would be great to make my own bag of tricks with my own. What I can do instead is all of the monsters are sort of fiendish. I'll add flavor to them so that they look like the kinds of things a hag would have. Like they're kind of nasty. But yeah, there are times where customizing a magic item I think is really useful, but you want it to be pretty meaningful. And also I don't want to do that much work. So, yeah, so we'll see how this goes. It feels a little loose to me. Like I don't, my strong start isn't exactly as strong as I'd like. And I kind of don't know where they're going to go in the manor. So I should actually go ahead and print my own manor map. Just so I have my own, I can draw on it. Sources, Adventures, Dragon Heist, Trollskull Alley. Oh, I think the manor map is actually in the appendices. Yeah, here it is. Print. My nice rustic paper. This is in portrait. And for some reason the margins are never... I can make it way bigger. Wow, I can only double it up. Good enough. So I think that is it. I'm ready enough. How do I feel? I was like, how you feel at a game prep is, how well you've prepped is really how good do you feel. Oh, that came out really nice. Yeah, that'll do nicely. My own little map. I don't feel great. I mean, I'm always excited to play D&D, so that's great. But like, how prepared do I feel? I don't feel that prepared. So we'll have to see. Well, I'll play it by ear. I'll see how it goes. Yeah, I got a lot going on. So, oh look, my mic is sticking up. That's embarrassing. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. We will be back next week, and I will tell you guys how all this went.
and then we will talk about where we're going next with this Dragon Heist game. So again, if you want to learn more about the ways of the Lazy Dungeon Master without having to drop $8, you can check out all the show notes below. There's a free preview of the 8 steps. There's also the videos that talk about the 8 steps and also go through the book if you want to see what's in the book. Otherwise, go ahead and pay $8 and check it out, because I think it's a really good book. I'm very happy with it, as I would be. And I will see all of you guys next week. Thank you all for coming, and I hope you enjoyed the show.